everybody, and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my November wrap up for you. As you can tell, like I said, I got a new bookshelf, so I'm so excited. I love the look of this right now, so I think I'm going to film from this way more often now that I have the extra bookshelf. Right now they're kind of bare because it's my monthly wrap up, and I didn't take pictures of my books. So I had to go and I had to grab them all out, so I decided to just show them all to you in physical form instead of pictures or anything like that. So my shelf is a little bit bare because a lot of these books actually came from there, and like on the top, my Pretty Little Liars books. So yeah, let's just get started. So this month I read, actually I didn't even count them. It's technically still November, it's November 30th. But I already finished a book this morning, and I don't think I'm going to be, if I read any more today, I don't think it'll be enough to finish a book. So I figured I'd just film it now. So I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 books this month, which is insane. Also, to go towards that, my Goodreads goal, just to update that, especially with December coming around, I originally was only going to read 60 books this year because I thought, okay, if I get a teaching job, I won't read. And I'm currently at 191 books, which technically I'm at 193 because I read the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy as a bind up, and it only counted this as one book. So technically it's like 193. So at this point, my goal is to reach 200. So the fact that I had read 19 books this month is pretty awesome. I'm going away for 2 weeks in December. I'm going to be going to Disney. I'm leaving like the 20th. So there won't be much time to really read in December. Like, I do read when I go to Disney, but I don't necessarily like read a ton. So I want to hopefully reach 200 before I even leave, which would be pretty awesome. But enough about that. Let's get into the books that I read this month. So the first book that I read this month was Winger by Andrew Smith. This book was a complete letdown for me. I gave this book 2 stars. I really didn't enjoy it. The main character really irritated me, and the storyline just bothered me, and then the end kind of was predictable. If you see this book on YouTube, usually people say, okay, like the ending, something big happens, so I kind of predicted it. Like, I didn't predict exactly how it happened, but I knew something like that was going to go down. So, I didn't really enjoy this book whatsoever. Then I read Ruthless by Sarah Shepard. This is the 9th book, I want to say. I don't remember. In the Pretty Little Liars series, there's too many to keep track of the specific numbers. Usually, with Pretty Little Liars books, they all tend to kind of blend together in my mind, so they all either got 4 or 5 stars. It's just I can't remember specifically what each book got. I know that I liked all of them. I think this one actually is the one about the trip. I think this one is when they go on their trip. Maybe not. I don't remember. But 4 or 5 stars. Then I read The Winner's Curse by Marie Rudkowski. I gave this book 4 stars as well, I believe. There was something about it that I just didn't love. It was still like a really fun story. I do want to read The Winner's Crime when that one comes out. So I did really enjoy this one. I just felt like there was a little something missing. It was kind of slow at parts, and I couldn't really give it the 5 stars. Then I read Stunning by Sarah Shepard. Again, like I'm going to say this for the next, like, bunch, that they either got 4 or 5 stars because they're just good. Like, there's nothing really, like, amazing about them. They're just fun, quick reads that you could literally read in one sitting, and they just make me want to keep going. Then I read Burn by Sarah Shepard and Crushed by Sarah Shepard, and it was funny because I was going to stop after this one because I just, like, wanted a break, but then I, like, read the ending, and I was like, oh my goodness, need to know what happens next. I picked up another book just to, like, take that break, like I said, read 1 page, and I was like, nope, must read Deadly, so I read Deadly by Sarah Shepard, and that's where my Sarah Shepard, like, marathon ended. I don't currently own Toxic, and Vicious comes out in like 2 days, but I'm holding off on buying them even though I really want them because I kind of don't want to pay full price for them. But I feel like that's going to end up happening anyways at some point, maybe next month. Then I read Vendetta, Lucky's Revenge by Jackie Collins. I hadn't read a Jackie Collins novel in a really long time, so I really wanted to pick one up. I believe I gave this one 4 stars. I couldn't exactly enjoy it because I've read this series backwards by accident. I didn't do it on purpose. Somebody asked me how that happened. I bought Poor Little Bitch Girl, not realizing that it's technically like the 7th book or something. So I read this one, really enjoyed it, found Goddess of Vengeance really cheap. So I decided to buy that one, read that one, tried to go in order again, and found a book, and the first book it mentioned was Drop Dead Beautiful, so I read that one, not realizing it technically moved for this one. So I've been reading the series completely wacky out of order. So I knew what happened in this. There's a big twist that happens in this book in the very kind of beginning stages of it. And I know what happens because they backtrack the stories in the other ones. So I knew that what happened, like how it works out or like how it doesn't work out. I'm not going to spoil it. But, so I knew how it was going to go down. So it wasn't as enjoyable as the other ones have been. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen with the rest of them. So I gave this one 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. It's just not what I was expecting. It was what I was expecting. It was predictable. So enough rambling about that book. Then I read Life's a Witch by Brittany Gergo-Tellis. This is the 2nd book in this series, even though it's technically the first one since the other one's a prequel. It's very confusing. The series really has thrown me off. I gave this book, I think, like 3 stars. I really didn't enjoy these books. The characters are just annoying, especially because I read the prequel first. With, like, even though I knew that was a prequel, something in this happens that really, like, kind of confuses me because it involves one of the male characters in that one. And I don't know, my mind just wasn't wrapping around it, and I couldn't really enjoy it, and I gave it 3 stars. These characters are in high school, too, so they're kind of really immature, and they really bothered me, so I could not get into this book, really, to save my life. And then I read Reflected in You by Sylvia Day. Oh my goodness, this is the 2nd book in the Crossfire series. I loved this book. Like, I was only going to read half one day and then read half the next day, and I got so sucked in. I ended up reading this all in one day, and I cannot wait to get the next one. So obviously I gave this book 5 stars because I just could not get enough of it, which is weird because there's really no, like, there's a plot line to these books, but, like, at the same time, like, they're stupid, but you just love them anyways. You just love them anyways. And then I read Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I loved The Husband's Secret, which is down there. And so I was really excited to get to this book. My mom bought it for me for Christmas, not for Christmas, for my birthday, and I could not wait to get to it. And I finally got to it. It was so good. And, like, I know somebody else made these comments. These covers are totally misleading. They make you think that they're like these chick lady books, but really there's a mystery involved, and it involves like a murder, and we don't know who was murdered, but it leads up to figure out who was murdered and why, and the ending was amazing, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. Then I had to finish the trilogy, and I read The Witch is Back by Brittany Gergo-Tellis. Another 3-star. All 3 of these books, I've honestly, like, fallen asleep, like, trying to start to read them. Like, it's been so slow going through them. Didn't really enjoy it, but, like, it was enjoyable enough to give it 3 stars. I mean, it wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but it wasn't the best book either. It was just kind of meh, in the middle. Then I read Confessions of a Hater by Caprice Crane. I gave this book 4 stars as well. The only thing that really bothered me was characters making dumb decisions. Dumb decisions make me so annoyed, and I hate characters like that because they never learn from their mistakes, and I gave it 4 stars. I mean, it was still enjoyable. I thought it was interesting. A girl who's not so popular, obviously trying to become popular, like, that's what, like, even you find it in movies. It's a cliche thing, but it was really entertaining to read. Oh, and like I said in my weekly wrap-up, if you haven't seen it, there's a part like a plot line that really irritated me too, that really wasn't necessary but was included anyways. That's one thing that really irritated me. I hate when they do that. Then I read a trilogy, and that was Fury by Elizabeth Miles, and then there's Envy and Eternity, all obviously by Elizabeth Miles. I gave all of the books 4 stars. They were one of those books that, like, I don't usually love. They were characters making dumb decisions, which I was just talking about. But for some reason, these were so, like, captivating. And they involved the Furies, which is Greek mythology, which I love. Even though we didn't really get to see a lot of them, obviously what they did affected the characters' lives. And I still really enjoyed them, even though they are typical books that I really would not enjoy. But I liked them anyways. Then I wanted to finish another series, and so I read Independent Study by Joelle Charbonneau, and I also read Graduation Day by Joelle Charbonneau. I gave both of these books 3 stars. This series is not my favorite. People compare them to the Hunger Games, but I do not see that at all, actually. There's a couple things that are, like, common, but I think they're their own story. Reason I had problems with Independent Study, these are also from the testing series, if you didn't notice, which I gave 4 stars. I gave the testing 4 stars, so I actually liked that. But this was really slow moving. There was a lot of action, but it felt very, very slow, and it was hard to get into, but once I got into it, I was able to go through it. And then Graduation Day was literally going to be a 4-star read until the last 2 pages. I got to the last 2 pages, and it was almost like the last pages of Hunger Games where you just get so angry at life, and that was this for me. It was 4 stars right until the end, and that killed it enough to dock it to 3 stars. That's how much it made me annoyed. So yeah, I mean, these aren't like the best books. Like I said, they're slowish, but I still enjoyed it. I'm glad that I gave it a chance, and I think more people should give it a chance. I know there's a lot of mixed about this series, so I think if you like Hunger Games, you like Divergent, you like those dystopian novels, you really should give these a chance. And then the last book, which is one that I started last night after I finished Graduation Day and finished already this morning, and that is Ketchup Clouds by Annabelle Pitcher, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this novel. It's written in a letter form. This girl, it tells you in the synopsis, she has committed murder, basically, and has gotten away with it. But she is so, like, guilted by it that she wants to be able to tell somebody. So the person she decides to tell is somebody on death row in America. She's in the UK, he's in America, so she writes him her story. She writes him multiple letters. This entire book is all letters to this inmate telling her story, and it was just really good, really fast and quick to get through. I docked it at the 0.5 because another character who kind of bothered me. There were some things that she talked about that just kind of made her seem very immature, and I don't like immature characters. If you couldn't get that hint from the rest of the books I've been talking about today. And then there were, like, plot lines where, like, she would start telling stories about things like, oh, my parents are fighting. And then, like, the next letter, my parents are fighting. And we're like, okay, why are they fighting? Or, like, my grandpa. But then, like, you don't find out any of those answers until the very end. And it was just kind of one of those plot lines that you wish that it kind of revealed a little bit of itself, like, as it went along, so you weren't just being drawn along, like, okay, I get it, this is a problem, can we figure out what the problem is? But other than that, I really, really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really unique, and I would look into reading other books by this author in the future. So those are all the books that I read this month. I'm going to wait on making a December TBR, just because I was bad and I bought books from Book Outlet on Black Friday. So those have not arrived yet. So obviously I'm probably going to want to read some of those in December. So I'm going to wait till I get everything in the mail to decide what's going on for December. So you will see that. I will probably still make a weekly wrap up with these 3 books. I don't know, because I actually went into more depth than I was going to in my wrap up about these. So we'll see if I make a weekly wrap up for this. If not, I'm definitely going to make another video. My plan is definitely to, somebody suggested the cozy fall tag or something, fall cozy, I don't know. And I wasn't really interested. And then I watched somebody do the video, and I actually really liked the questions, so I'm thinking about making